Good afternoon, everybody. So I think I am the last one today, just before the party. So I hope not to be too boring for you, so you will still be awake for the party. So good afternoon, everybody, again. So my name is Lorenzo Piro. So I'm working for Aruba. I don't know if you know Aruba, but I will present you briefly the company. So first, I'm working for HPE. So Aruba is a brand of HPE. And HPE was founded in 2015 as a spin-off of HP. You know HP probably. So the founder of the Silicon Valley in 1939. So founded by Dave Packard and Bill Hewlett. So this company grew quite a lot. And in 2015, decided to split into two companies. One being HPE, focusing on enterprises solutions like networking, like computing, like cloud, like storage. And the other side, you have HP, which is still using the same logo, focusing on endpoints, so computer, printers, and so on. We are all there here today. So HP, Aruba, HP, we all have booths today here in this event. But I am working for Aruba. So when this split happened in 2015, HP decided to take very quickly some strategic moves. So they booked Aruba. And Aruba is one of the leaders in the networking industry. So Aruba was founded in 2002, now about 20 years, and has been recognized since the beginning as one of the leaders in networking infrastructure. So you can see on this slide many innovations when we brought to the market. There are many patents behind that. We also made a lot of acquisitions. I will highlight three innovations that we made. The first is what we call the mobile-first architecture. We were, let's say, the only one in the beginning to understand the importance of mobility. So if mobility is just being connected to an access point to work like I'm working now. It's just giving a seamless experience wherever the people are, whatever they're using, with same level of security, same level of bandwidth, the same level of security, and so on. So everything is included. The second that I would like to highlight is the cloud management that we also implemented very early in our solution to be able to manage everything from a single cloud platform. And the third, which is topic of today, is IoT. So we also included since the beginning an architecture to include IoT devices and possibility to connect them, to secure them in our architecture. So I think it's a really nice moment today. It couldn't be better to announce our KNX membership because we are very fresh in the KNX association. KNX is moving into IoT, and Aruba would like to further develop its presence into smart buildings, smart homes, and so on. So the big company is HPE, and what we think in terms of vision for the future, for the next wave for enterprises, that will be edge-centric, cloud-enabled, and data. And data will be very important. It is already now. So what is the edge? The edge can be also, in many cases, translated into network infrastructure. It's where the access layer is. So it's, of course, networking, but we also have edge computing with both. So at the edge, what's happening at the edge? We have users connected at the edge. We have also devices connected at the edge, and all of them are creating insights, data. So we will be using that data with artificial intelligence to improve things. So it can be an experience in a shop. It can be improving the building in terms of efficiency. It can be anything. Then we also think that cloud is something that is not a destination. It's something that is an experience. So we think that workloads can be everywhere. It can be in a private cloud. It can be in a public cloud. It can be in a data center. But the experience should be the same. It should be seamless. And it should be also easy to move workloads from one location to the other. And then last but not least, data. So we think that, data is the new oil, is the new currency. So enterprises, people which can exploit data will have a competitive advantage. So think about Amazon, think about Google, think about Facebook. All those guys are using data. So within Aruba, so a division of HPE, our mission is connecting, securing, and delivering insight from the edge to the cloud. This is what we do. So it's just not about connecting, because most of the time we think network is just connecting. No, it's not just connecting. It's also exporting data from the edge. So data, for example, can be the location of people, how many times they are coming in a facility, or for example, which kind of application they are using. We can see all this kind of context with our solutions. So the topic of today, of course, is smart buildings. But smart buildings is something from the past, like it was presented by Mr. Lux a few minutes ago. We are now speaking about collaborative buildings, or what we call also a smart hyper-aware buildings. So what does that mean is that smart buildings were, let's say, buildings where we put IoT devices and they send information about telemetry. Smart hyper-aware buildings or collaborative buildings are also doing that, of course, but they have the capacity to self-adapt quickly to the environment. So this is what we are defining as hyper-awareness. So this is extremely important because the data which is generated by the devices can be understood and can be exploited to improve the efficiency of the building. So in this case, IoT and OT are the eyes and the ears providing information to the building. So why is it important? So it's extremely important because the richer the data that we provide to the building, the bigger its capacity to self-adapt and take the good decisions. In this case, so we will need not only, like I mentioned before, a network which enables the connectivity, but an intelligent network which will understand the context. So what is the role of the edge of the, let's say, network infrastructure? First of all, like I mentioned, connectivity of telemetry. So devices, sensors, and so on. Second is also to understand the people in the building. Like I mentioned, where they are, we can get, for example, 20 centimeter accuracy with our solution, how many times they come. Typical example that we have, so we have big customers like, shops, hypermarkets, where you can see how many times people are coming into the building, what they are looking for, because with 20 centimeter accuracy, we know that they are in front of specific product, and we know also which kind of traffic they are generating with their mobile phone, if they are surfing on Amazon, for example. And we can provide at that moment the right user experience. For example, sending them a message for a promotion because we want them to close a deal, because we can also see how many times they came in front of this specific product. So this is things that we can do with our solutions, so not only connectivity. Of course, the edge is also a threat because at the edge, you will get the cyber security attacks. So this needs to be protected from IO to CEO. And also, so like I mentioned, so we need to have a common infrastructure to get visibility of who is using the network, and we need to secure them. This is our goal. So now, if we think about smart buildings, we think there is a difference between smart homes in terms of needs and smart buildings in terms of bigger infrastructure. So the use case will be different. At home, we will use most of the time application like multimedia, your thermostat, all this kind of stuff that everybody is using now, like also appliances and so on. While in smart buildings, the needs are more, let's say, more intended to improve the efficiency of buildings, of parkings, for example, of waste management. So use cases are, let's say, completely different, most of the cases. Also, of course, the size, the structure of buildings are completely different. So at home, you will find simple, let's say, very small rooms with most of the time walls in concrete or in steel, but in industries, in bigger buildings, you will find this kind of infrastructure where you need also to deploy different type of networks. Then also in terms of communication protocols used, most of the time at home, Wi-Fi, 80% of the cases will be used, and then we also have additional protocols like Zigbee, Bluetooth, and so on, and KNX, of course. While in bigger buildings, you will, of course, find KNX everywhere, but you will also find new protocols like Thread, just mentioned before, or also Sigfox. All these kind of things are a bit different. So there are a lot of different communication protocols that we find in the enterprise. In terms of our requirements, it's completely different also. At home, most of the time, we will find a power outlet where we can connect an IoT device. In bigger buildings, it's more difficult. So low energy devices is also very important to find. And then where to compute, most of the time, an IoT application at home will be in the cloud provided by your solution, while for the industry it will be a mix of both. It can be in the cloud, but the processing can be also at the edge. So you can see different type of requirements. And we answer that with different type of solutions also. So we have two solutions within our portfolio in Aruba. So I'm responsible for the one on the left, which is Aruba Instant On, which is meant for small SMBs and for also smart homes. While on the right, you will find what we call the Aruba ESP, Edge Service Platform, meant for bigger enterprises. So the Aruba Instant On is a simple portfolio where you will find access points, switches, IPv6, Wi-Fi 6, all the last infrastructure protocols and standards that are on the market. But the main characteristic of this solution is that it's easy to deploy, because an installer, which is doing a smart home project, so it will spend, let's say, a few hours maximum on this project, because otherwise it'd be too costly for the end customer. And also in terms of management, in terms of security. So all of this should be easy to deploy. Also because of the knowledge of the partner or the reseller, which sometimes when they come from the IoT role or the smart building role is a bit missing in terms of IP. So the solution should be easy to deploy. In terms of enterprise solution, we have this platform, which is called ESP. We have 3 layers. The first layer, of course, like I mentioned, is connectivity. And there we can provide, of course, wireless, of course, wireless, so Ethernet, but also SD-WAN, so for multiple sites, 5G and IoT. And I will show you what we can do in terms of IoT. So we have the possibility to integrate new IoT protocol standards into a solution very quickly. We have already some of them embedded, but we have the possibility to extend. Then we have the security layer. There we will provide what we call a zero trust security layer, where anything which is connected to the network, we don't trust. So we will apply what's called role-based access. We'll define a role, a specific device. We'll first identify the device and put the device in a specific role. For example, an IoT device, a pump, for example, won't get access to an Exchange server. So we'll define rules to protect let's say, automatically the network. And then we will provide a national layer of artificial intelligence to understand all the context created by IoT devices and created by the people in the building. All this managed by a cloud solution, which is called Central, and a common security layer. So I mentioned IoT, so gateways. The IoT gateways that we have are our access points. The access points from Aruba, they have 4 possibilities to connect IoT devices. The first is, of course, the Wi-Fi, which is enabled, so for the, let's say, Wi-Fi endpoints, but we also have, of course, Bluetooth 5.0 and Zigbee radio integrated with the access point by default. But we also have a USB port, which enables us to connect any kind of device to provide new way to connect IoT devices. One example that I have here, for example, is what we do with Enocean, which is a bit like KNX, right? But we provide this solution. So by simply plugging this USB stick into the access point, we have access to the Enocean world and IoT devices, but also to KNX, because we can put also a gateway between Enocean and KNX and then go to KNX. So we will develop more feature, more integration in the future. For us, it's just the beginning of the journey in terms of smart buildings, especially with KNX, but stay tuned, you will hear from us in the next future. So in terms of what we can do with the solution, so we have so also this possibility to have indoor navigation. So like I mentioned, with geolocalization of people, we also have asset tracking embedded in our solution. We have smart tags, Bluetooth smart tags, with also Wi-Fi localization. So all this can be done with the Aruba solution. So today, we are also giving away something for you. So we are giving away this access point. So Jesus will, I think, define who's winning it. So it's the flagship product that we have in SMB in Smart Home. 4x4 Wi-Fi 6 access point, 1.8 gig throughput. So this will be the gift given by Aruba today. Use cases, this is where you need bandwidth. So it can be gaming, it can be hospitality, it can be offices. So it's really what is best on the market today, really. So some takeaways from my side. I think that we need, when there is a smart building project, to define first the needs. Is it a smart building? Is it a smart home? And there is no one-size-fits-all in terms of networking, because networking technology is quite complex in terms of deployment, management, and so on. So choosing the good solution is a key thing to do. Then there should be no compromise on security, whatever the end customer smart home, smart building, and so on, security needs to remain at very high level because security breaches are coming from this side of the network. And then last but not least, hyper building, collaborative buildings, and so on. Data is the new normal. So you need to deploy a network which is intelligent enough to understand data generated by all the devices and all the occupants. Thank you very much.